Hello, I'm Maryanna Franco, and I'm here again with Jason Barnard.
Hello.
Today, we are going to talk about the personal branding in search and, LLMs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I would call them assistive engines.
Assistive engine.
So if you look at that, you're saying, well, we've got search engines like Google and Bing, and then we've got assistive engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google Gemini, and now Google Learn About,
Oh, yeah.
which we talk about in another episode.
Yeah. So the first thing that I want to ask, and it's a story that you love to tell, is how did this whole personal branding just start with you?
Well, my previous career was as the CEO of Up to 10 and the voiceover artist for the cartoon Blue Dog that we were producing at the time with Up to 10. And when I ended that particular career, Google had focused on the Blue Dog. And if you ask Google, who is Jason Barnard, or you just search Jason Barnard, at the top, it literally said, Jason Barnard is a cartoon blue dog. And I realized that it had completely missed my career as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, as a business person. And that's where I wanted to go next. So I set about figuring out how can I change Google's perception of me so that it understands still that I was a cartoon blue dog, but it prioritizes CEO and entrepreneur. And it took me a couple of years to really know then how to do that. And then I created CaliCube, and it's now what we do, and it's our entire business. And it was so much fun to do because Biwa, the cartoon blue dog, had a family.
Oh, yeah.
Marwa, Darwa, and Siwa, his mother, his father, and his sister. And he had a friend, Koala, who was a yellow koala for reasons that I won't go into. She had a mother, a father, a grandmother, and a grandfather. So I did two things at the same time, and it was so much fun. One was pivot Google's understanding of me from cartoon blue dog to serious entrepreneur and business person. And the second was to build the family tree in its brain, which is one of my fun projects that I love doing. So each of these characters has a personal brand in Google's brain, and now in ChatGPT and in Google Learn About and in Copilot and Perplexity.
I mean, I can only imagine that you're very passionate about these characters to take this much time to teach Google and everything else about them.
Well, for me, it's an experiment, and it's a fun experiment, and it allows me to try things out without getting anything wrong for clients or for friends. So I use them as kind of sounds horrible, I'm now saying it,
Queen fix.
doing the experiments as an evil scientist on these poor animals. They're plush toys.
And you don't do voodoo on them. It's just
No.
on the digital side. It's okay.
So back on track
Yeah.
with personal branding.
So, I mean, you basically, throughout all of those experiments, you kind of figured out the right recipe to do this.
Yeah.
But without getting too much into the process that you use, we can talk a bit about the importance of personal branding nowadays and getting it right on the internet.
Yeah, I think a lot of us think if I don't have a strong personal brand, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to put that to one side and say, well, these machines, Google, Bing, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Alexa, Siri, all of these machines, all of the big tech are trying to understand the entire world. And it doesn't matter if you're famous or not, they're trying to understand you anyway. You can't escape. If you have any kind of digital footprint, and pretty much everybody in the world does, they will try to understand you. You can't escape. And that creates then the problem. What do you do? You know about this, and I think you can explain it in a more understandable manner than I would.
The non-geeky manner.
Yeah, the non-geeky manner.
So I think what you want to say is that we need to have a very clear, clean digital footprint, right?
Yeah.
On our social media, on our websites, whatever we stand online. If anyone publishes an article about us and has our bio there, everything needs to be very clear and very clean.
Very consistent.
Very consistent.
And I think people think, well, I don't have a huge digital footprint, so it doesn't really matter. So even if it's 2 or 3 profiles, 2 or 3 mentions, 2 or 3 appearances online, make sure that they're clear about who you are, what you do, and what you want the machine to understand about you, and make sure that it's consistent across all the different platforms. And we have somebody at our company CaliCube.
I was going to mention that.
Maryanne, and what did you find the other day?
I mean, it was very surprising to me because, no, it wasn't even Maryanne. It was someone else. Because now you have two people. I know it's Elisa and Maryanne. Sorry.
Yeah,
So it was Maryanne.
Actually, sorry to correct you, but we've got 5 people
Oh, wow.
now.
Because the thing is that I tried your platform, CaliCube Pro, and I didn't type the name of anyone of your company. I typed CaliCube.
Ooh.
And so it pushed out Elisa, which I knew already that she had a knowledge panel. And then I saw Maryanne, and I was like, are you just creating knowledge panels for everyone? And that was quite impressive because, as you say, they don't have a huge online presence.
No. And you mentioned knowledge panel. To say what that is, it's the information box on the right-hand side when you search on Google or on Bing for that matter. And it's the facts according to the machine. So it's the facts Google's understood about somebody. And the idea that you need to be famous to have a knowledge panel with the facts is false.
Yeah.
And Maryanne and Elisa, lovely people, but they have a very small digital footprint. 3 or 4 social media channels, a page on CaliCube, and that's it. And yet Google understands them and they have knowledge panels.
Mm-hmm.
And the point isn't that they want to be incredibly visible. They want to be seen. They want to be influential. It's that they want control.
Yeah.
In Google, in ChatGPT, in Bing, in Perplexity. And they want to be sure that if somebody is searching for them, these machines represent them in the way they want. And for us at CaliCube, it's an experiment to see to what extent we can leverage CaliCube's authority in Google's mind to get Google and Bing and ChatGPT to understand the people that we are talking about, in this case, the people who work at CaliCube. And it's lovely.
I mean, if you think about the future with machines getting more intelligent, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. So my question here is, are we thinking about a machine that gets so intelligent that will be able by itself to understand who is Jason Barnard, the entrepreneur, and who is Jason Barnard, the hockey player? Or when we get to the point where the machine is that smart, it will only care about the people that it already knows, and everyone else will be like secondary actors, and it won't care about them.
Well, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a data set that it has. When it gets super smart, you were talking about singularity, and we talked about that in another episode. When the machines become smarter than we are, at that point, the machine's going to be figuring it out for itself. And the core of knowledge that it has at that point is going to be cemented, pretty much. And everything else, it's going to be figuring out for itself. So if you're in that solid foundation, you're more or less safe. More or less.
Safe.
But if you're not, nobody will have control anymore.
Yeah.
And you're taking total potluck as to what the machine is going to figure out about you. And the control of that is something, right now, I don't feel particularly worried. I'm confident we can figure something out, but I'm definitely sure it's not going to be as simple as it is today.
Yeah.
When you say clear, consistent message across your entire digital footprint, it's not going to be that simple in the future.
Should we be freaking out?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Okay, this is very mean. Because let me explain something, right? My name is so common. There are gazillion. I talk about this on another episode, but seriously, there is a gazillion people with my name.
Yep.
And they all have different professions, and some of them are, let's say, quite interesting.
Yes.
And I wouldn't like to be confused with them.
Yep.
Respectfully. So how do I save myself from the rage that the machines will have one day? If they turn out to be bad, how do I save myself?
Well, very good point. And the answer to that is actually do it now to get into that solid data set right at the start. So right now it's simple.
Okay.
And if you can create a clear, consistent digital footprint with a central hub, we call it the hub, spoke and wheel model. And I'll explain really quickly. Hub is a web page that you control where you speak about who you are, what you do, who you serve, and you present that to the machines. And strangely, the machines are actually looking for a page by you, about you. Mm-hmm. And they use that as the central reference. At that point, you can say, well, here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's who I serve. And here's my brand narrative, my personal brand narrative. Here are the important points about me. Then you look around your entire digital footprint, the wheel, and you make sure it's all clear and consistent with that central message on the hub. And then you link together using the spokes. You create links from the entity home, the hub, to the different corroborative sources and back. And it's really simple because the machine will see the hub, follow the link, the spoke, get to the wheel, see the same thing, come back, see the same thing, go out, and so on and so forth. And by repetition, it will learn. So it's a very simplistic child, Google. It learns by repetition. The smart machine won't learn by repetition.
Mm-hmm.
It will learn by extrapolation.
Yeah.
It will figure things out from, say, itself. It will take information.
Itself.
Sorry?
And it will feed itself.
And it will feed itself. And that's a whole different, new, additional story. It gets really scary. But to come back from that super scary scenario, if you have control when we do reach singularity, you've got a very good chance. If you don't have control, you have no chance. So be scared, but be scared and act.
Very good.
That's lovely, isn't it? It's a great end.
It's great, and I'm not stressed at all.
Well, I'll help you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for it.
Thank you.